Okie dokie. Let's see, get that in a nice position. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to What I Watched This Week. This is a brand new show where it's kind of like a podcast. It's gonna be my podcast replacement. So I'm live on Twitch right now, and you can follow me here. You can chat with me live. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about movies or shows that whatever I watched this week. It could be anime shows, videos, just literally anything, I guess. What I realized was that my other podcast that was on YouTube wasn't something that was sustainable for me to do. It was just something fun that I wanted to try out. Turns out it's not something that I was really super enjoying doing, and I kind of had to force Megan to do it with me, which I didn't want to keep having to force her to do that, and I didn't want to keep having to find guests because guests are hard to find, and it was hard to find them. So obviously there wasn't that many. So I thought of something else that I could do that I thought would be fun and that I would like to do anyways, which is talk about things that I've watched, review things. So why not do a long-form show, podcast type thing where I talk about that stuff, like, review shows. And I'm live on Twitch, so if you're watching this on YouTube, hi YouTube people, you'll see this in a different quality because this is just going to be, I'm recording it on my camera and I'm also streaming it. So on my Twitch channel, you'll see this stream and you can chat live. And, if you want to, anyone out there, if you want to talk about this with me, let's get on a Discord call. Let's do something. We'll talk about it. We'll review it and we'll chat about it together. Otherwise, it's just going to be me up here rambling. Leave questions in the chat. Leave comments if you're on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, I encourage you to please go follow me on Twitch because this is where I'm going to stream it live. And a big part of this, I hope, will be some interaction, which will be fun. Other than that, I'm just going to talk about the show and give it reviews. So I guess that's all out there now. So you'll have this on Twitch and you'll have this on YouTube, and whichever one you like, you can watch and whatever. I think this is gonna be different. It's gonna be easier for me to do this. This is Wednesday, October 6th. Usually I'm gonna try to do this on a Monday because I'm off on Mondays. Megan's at work on Mondays, so I can do this while she's gone. And who knows? Sometimes maybe we'll talk about something together, just because we do like to talk about stuff together. It's not all bad, It's not like we had one episode of our podcast where we talked about a Netflix show, Through Your Eyes or something like that, and we kind of fought about it. So we haven't really talked about shows since then, but we'll do it. I think we will. We'll do it one day. All right, so I guess let's just not bury the lead here. Let's get right into Squid Game. And if you see me looking this way, I'm looking at the chat, which, oh yeah, there's nobody there. So, Squid Game. And I'm a little jittery because I've been drinking this energy drink. This is a G Fuel cup, but it is not G Fuel in here. It's some pre-workout stuff. Just help me get amped, vamped. Ooh, ooh. Hey, someone's here. What's up? Someone's watching. One viewer. Who is it? I always have one person watching, and whoever you are, you're super special in my heart. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Squid Game. I'm going to talk about Squid Game and What We Do in the Shadows today. For as long as I have things to say about them, that's how long I'll talk for. So, Squid Game is a Netflix show, a Korean Netflix show that just came out recently. And it's been pretty big. It's been popping on Netflix. Everyone's been talking about it, been seeing memes about it. And so I was basically, I won't say bullied, but I was convinced to watch it. So I did. I watched it, and it's really good. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that if you like apocalyptic, I want to say that, like, if you like movies where people are life or death situations, then you'll enjoy this show. And I think it kind of it transcends that in a way where it's very dramatic and there's a lot of good elements to it. So before I get into spoilers or anything, I would say I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to you. I would say everyone give it a chance. because you never know, you might really, really like it. And I think it's broad enough. I think it's a broad enough show to where, as long as you're not put off by blood or gore or violence, then I think we'll get something out of the show. So I recommend it, and let's just talk about it now, I suppose. So it's Squid Game follows the. I saw something on Twitter, and I don't know if this is true. The director of the show had written this 10 years ago and was shopping it around, but no one wanted to take it at the time. And he kept it. Maybe they did want to take it, but they didn't want to use his vision for it, or they didn't want to give him enough money to do it how he wanted to do it, something like that. And that really stuck out to me. I was like, oh, okay, because this premise and this idea really does seem like a premise from 10 years ago. You know, like there's Battle Royale, which is like a Japanese movie that I think was before early 2000s, possibly earlier than that. I'm not sure, but an older movie where, you know, Japanese students fight each other. I think it's all girls. But then you have like Hunger Games, which is similar. You have like what was the one, the Maze Runner, which are shows like, which are these kind of premises where it's life or death. There was another one I was thinking, oh yeah, Dead Man Wonderland is an anime show where they have these convicts that I think to reduce their sentences or whatever, they can compete in these games. And that's instantly the first thing I thought of when I saw the trailer and I saw it pop up. I was like, oh, it's like a Dead Man Wonderland kind of thing. And it was Asian people. And of course, well, Dead Man Wonderland is Japanese, but then these are Koreans. So I was, and it didn't, like, I didn't really want to start it. I don't know why. I mean, it looked, the trailer was fine. I was just like, okay, but I didn't know, it seemed kind of generic because I've seen this, you've seen this kind of thing before, but not in this way. And the trailer has a lot of, and the show has a lot of style in it. There's a lot of stylized elements. But I was just kind of like, okay, I feel like I've already seen this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, people fight to the death, or they compete in games and they die if they don't win. Okay, I've kind of seen that. And that comes back to the whole 10 years ago script. 10 years ago, the director, and I was like, okay, this seems like something from 10 years ago. But it's kind of come back around now to where it's been long enough to where we haven't seen this kind of show to where it is relevant again, or it sticks out, at least, in like Netflix's catalog of things. You know, it's like, oh, this is kind of, it's not new, but it's newish now. It's been a long time since we've seen something like this. And so because of all the hype and recommendations, I did check it out, and I really enjoyed it. So the story is, we follow our main character, and I don't even know what his name is. It's hard, their names are all Korean, so it's hard to say. It's like Guhan or something is how they say it. We'll just call him main character, man. Guy with daughter. We'll call him Guy with daughter. And he is like a scumbag. You know, he's lost a lot of money. He treats people like he treats his family kind of like crap because he has, I think, like a gambling addiction, or he's just kind of a scumbag. And he has no money. And so he plays a game at the subway with this one guy. He's very mysterious, and he gives him his card, and he calls the number on the card, and he gets picked up, and he gets knocked out from the knockout gas, and he wakes up, and he's in this huge facility on this island where there's 255 other people there. And they're like, what's going on? This is kind of strange. And then they explain to them about the rules, and you win the cash prize if you can finish the game. That's very important. If you finish the game, you win the money. And there's 6 games. If you finish the I guess it would be one big game. If you finish all 6 games, you win this money. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So there can be multiple winners to this game. And that was intriguing. I was like, all right, cool. Because sometimes it's like a single winner, but they don't specify that there's a single winner. And I'm pretty sure I already said spoilers, right? So spoilers for the rest of Squid Game. Go watch it. Give it a try. So I was thinking, there could be multiple winners. That's cool. because because I think it would be nice to have a bunch of characters win. You know, like okay, they split the money, and of course that's not how it turns out. We have one person win, but at the time, I was like, cool, there could be multiple winners, and so they get the first game going, and they figure out what's happening, and there's this like red light, green light situation where, you know, you play red light, green light, and I think that's one of the only games that I've actually played. I never played Tug of War. I never played with the little honey things. I played marbles. Okay, I did play marbles a little bit, but it was like the one where you do the circle around it and you shoot the marbles with your fingers and you try to bounce the marbles out of the circle. What other games was there? A Squid Game. I don't even know if I don't know if that's a real game that they made, if that's real in Korea or they just made that up. It seems like something that's probably real in Korea, but I've never played that game. What was the other one? The Tile. Of course, no one's ever played that game. What game is what in real life kind of game mirrors that? You know, like hopscotch. There's games of like 50-50 games of chance. That one really doesn't equate in real life to a different kind of game in my brain, unless I'm just misremembering it. They kind of gloss over that, don't they? Because the VIPs are there and all that. But nevertheless, we find out what's happening. Everyone starts getting shot by snipers, and it's really strange and crazy. And there's a lot of blood and a lot of what looks like real blood, like squibs going off, and it's pretty cool, pretty intense. And you know, we meet new characters. Sang Woo, I remember Sang Woo is a childhood friend of our main character, and he's there. There's Annoying Lady, which is the kind of street trash lady who tries to weasel her way in with the gangster guy. We'll just call him Asshole. There's Old Man, and then there's Ali. I think that's our most of our central characters. We have Pickpocket Girl, and I think that's it that we really focus on. We have Police Detective, and I think that's it, guys. That's all the people. So we complete the first game, and then they all decide to leave and come back, or they decide to leave, and which I thought was interesting. That's a cool part of the show. So what I really like is that this show goes different places. Like, it goes a lot of places, and it goes in a lot of interesting directions. At first, when I started watching it, I was a little off-put of how much time we were spending with the main character, because I was like, okay, I mean, sure, establish your character, but what I really care about is to see these fun, gruesome games. And I was like, when is that going to happen? You know, for the while, like the first 2 episodes, I was like, this could have just been a movie. You know, like, set up, have the games all happen, have the resolution. Okay, this could have just been a longer movie, 2 hours. Give it 2 hours, and it could have been a fine 2-hour movie. After I was watching like the first couple episodes, I was like, why does this have to be so long? I want to see more of the games, you know, like because you have the first game and then they go back to the real world. And I was like, don't go back to the real world. I want to see more of the games. But by the end of the show, I am satisfied and happy that they did spend the extra time to develop the characters, because it does really pay off in a pretty satisfying way, I would say. The actual ending, I don't really like. I wanted him to go on the plane, you know, leave this behind you, go see your daughter, you know, live your life. But it seems like he is compelled, because it really did take a toll on him, to go and maybe try to expose the Squid Game. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen there, but we'll see. And I hope my camera doesn't die, because it has been charging, but also it dies super fast. I got like an hour, but I should be okay. hopefully an hour. I should be okay with it up there. So, yeah, I'm glad the characters had their time to develop. I'm going to jump around a little bit, I suppose, but the thing that really got to me, we got to talk about, let's just get this out of the way. Let's just talk about it. The episode 7 or 6, the episode with the marbles, and the old man, that shit was really, really great. That shit was really, really well done. I really loved that. And it made me cry. I teared up. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's a great moment for Sang-woo, and for our main character, because it really that's when we really know these two people. We really get a sense of who they are. Sang-woo, he's really cutthroat. He'll do what he has to do to win this thing. And up to that point, we knew he was smart and calculating, but we didn't know how far he would take this. And so he just basically manipulates Ollie and gets him killed. And I think he feels bad about it, but it's him or me, you know. And he really has to put that in his face. And it was impactful and powerful. And I knew right when they started joining up with their teams, I was like, oh man, I knew it wasn't gonna have to do. I knew the game wasn't gonna have to do anything with like skill or like, you know, like a physical challenge. I was like, no, they can't have like some kind of physical challenge, because they just kind of did that. So I was like, it's got to be something different that this old guy can really help with. It's gonna play into it. There's something that's got to play into that. And then right when they got in there and they started walking around, I was like, oh my gosh, what if they have to play against each other? Sorry, my house really started itching me all of a sudden. I think it's the pre-workout, but and it hit me right as they started going in there. What if they have to play against each other? And then bam, they drop it on you. Yeah, you're gonna play against each other. And I was like, oh, damn it, dude, what the fuck? No, don't do that. And then, you know, of course, there's great acting in this whole show. Such great acting. That old guy, that old man, he is phenomenal. He does a great job in this show. I mean, especially, you know, at the end when he reveals he's still alive, and he seems different. You know, he seems like a different person in the bed. He's a completely different person. And, I mean, that's the job of an actor. I know what it is. It's this fan. I bought a fan, guys. Woohoo! Because I was getting so hot in here, you know, and I hope you can't hear it. It's on the lowest setting, but the fan was blowing right in my face, and it's making my eyes water. So I gotta kind of tilt it downwards, and but yeah, and you know, our main character's face when he realizes that he has to fight this, not fight, but you know, go against this old guy. And he just you can see the sinking feeling on his face. And then the old guy's having some kind of like dementia fit, and he's wandering around the place, and it's really great. And he's like, sir, please, we got to play this game. Man, it's a really great episode. It's my favorite episode, for sure. But a great revelation that happens before that is we have our first two games, right? And the second game is the one where they have to scratch out what was it, like some kind of melted and hardened honey treat that I guess is popular in Korea, and they have like a little toothpick to do it and all that. And I can't believe that no one didn't see that girl fucking lighting her thing on fire and burning it. Everyone's supposed to be equal. That's not an equal chance, you fuckers. She cheated, and then she let the other guy cheat too, the asshole guy. But the first two games were all upon you, and if you didn't do it, you died, right? And that was something that I was like, oh, this is great. All of the games, you know, you're responsible for winning, so it's on you, you know. But then the third game, and I think it's the third game. The third game is the tug of war game. And they had to actively fight against each other, and they were going to kill each other, like pull each other off of this thing, which is very brutal. And that was when it got really real for me, and that was the time where it like really kicked in to like, oh my gosh, this is intense. I'm really into this. I really like this. But at the same time, I didn't like that they were gonna kill each other now. I wanted it to be on them to make it to the end. Like they were in charge of their own destiny themselves, and they're gonna win or they're gonna lose based on what they did. And they didn't have to kill anyone else, But that's not how it works, I guess. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, because I feel bad for the characters that they have to actively kill another person now to win this money when it was kind of marketed to me, or whenever I had this sense, that's not really the right word, not marketed to me, but whenever I got the feeling in the sense that they were just going to go to this place and they were going to have a chance to win the money just on their own. And then of course they get pulled off, and it was a cool scene though. It was really great. Super inventive. All of the games, aside from the second one where you're just scratching out the thing. I mean, that is intense, and it was kind of like interesting to have to do that. And he figured out a cool way to do it. It was funny when he had he got the umbrella and he was like, "I'm screwed," because it would be very difficult to cut that out. But and saying woo, he didn't tell him. He had a inkling in his mind of what it was, like, oh, these snacks, but he let him still choose the difficult one. So it's like, you dick. But all of the games were I don't remember what I was gonna say now. Oh, all the games were inventive and interesting besides kind of that one. That was kind of just like whatever. And then they have the part where now they're all gonna go back into their bunk bedroom, and then they're gonna be able to fight and kill each other. And they deliberately planned that, like they let those people get back in line. And I was like, they have to know that these people have already went in line, right? So it makes sense that they were manipulating them in that way to where they were just gonna like fight and kill each other. And I guess that's just a part of the game. But I didn't really like that either, because they bring up this equality thing. Everyone's here is equal, but not everyone here is equal. They don't all have a fair chance. Technically, they do, I suppose, but there's a lot of factors that go into that. They don't all have equal chance to do the game if they get killed before the game even starts, because some people just don't have like the skills or the survival skills for that. I wish they wouldn't have been able to kill. It's a cool scene because there's like a light flashing and an interesting way that they shot that, and it's cool. But I just wish they would have like, no, don't kill each other. If anyone tries to attack another player, we'll kill you. I wish that would have been the case, but it wasn't. And whatever. What else can you do? What else do I like about it, or what else did I not like about it? I always talk about music in shows, and the music for this is not super memorable that I can think of. There is a part in the opening theme song where it makes like a noise. It sounds just like the CinemaSins, like the CinemaSins ending noise, and it makes that ending noise, and every time I hear that sound, I was like, that's the CinemaSins sound. And some of you guys out there know what I'm talking about. If you do, shout out to you. But other than that, other music was fine. I'm sure nothing stood out to me. The sad music was fine when it needed to be there. The music, whenever they were talking about, like, he goes into this cool voiceover when he's talking about the tactics they're going to use for the tug of war. I was like, yeah, this is cool. And it has some cool music there. What else do I usually talk about? Our characters were great. I really like how they were fleshed out. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm glad that they took the time to develop the characters, because it was cool. It's nice to get a background, and how long the show is, it gives it a sense of, you get a sense of the characters and their backstory, and that helps you be invested in them. Because the pickpocket girl, I didn't really care for her at first, but then she has this whole journey where she's trying to get her brother out of this orphanage, and her mom from North Korea, the bad Korea, to the fun Korea, which South Korea doesn't get a good look in this movie. In this show, it looks kind of dumpy. There's a lot of scumbag people that are broke and in debt, and I wonder if this is supposed to be actual Korea, like South Korea, or if this is supposed to be like some fictionalized version of South Korea for this show. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know much about Korea. What can I say? But and then Sang-woo has his backstory. He's like the smart university school guy who went off to this great university and became a business professional or of some kind, but he made a lot of investments in bad places or something like that. But we see his mom, and his mom is still around the same neighborhood where they grew up together. And yeah, at first I thought they were brothers, but and I guess it's supposed to be them in the beginning that we see playing the game together. I thought that was going to be the mogul, or the head tycoon guy who's running the island. I thought that was going to be him. We're going to see like, oh, he's playing this game, and it would be like we'd get more flashbacks of like the main guy running this whole thing. But no, I'm guessing that was just them as younger kids. I don't know if that's ever said, but yeah. And the other part of it. Well, let me finish up the characters, I guess. We have our asshole gang member guy. We see a lot of him out there, and he's just, he's an interesting part to have in the story because he has a role to play, and just like the annoying girl has a role to play. And I call her the annoying girl because some of the times she's just annoying to me, just annoying. And I don't know if she was annoying to anybody else, but I was just like, this girl just needs to shut up, And I think that, I don't know if that had to have been what they were going for, right? So she played that role very well, and she has some great acting in there too. She has like some breakdowns where she's like has to like plead, and she has to act snooty and like, oh yeah, I'm the best. She does a really good job too. And the asshole guy does a good job. I believe him. I believe that dude was just a fucking asshole, a piece of shit, because he looks like it too, He just looks like that kind of guy. And I'm sure he's not, because he's an actor. He's probably a nice guy in real life. But they all portray these characters. It's such a believable world that they create, because the outside world feels real. It feels lived in. It feels like these people are really going through these kind of struggles. And it feels like this facility, however fantasy island outlandish it is, it does feel like a real place. We see a lot of the inner workings of this place, which is kind of cool, which is an angle of the show I guess I can get into now that I was fixing to get into earlier. We have the detective guy, Korean pop cop is what I call him, because he looks like a Korean pop star, like K-pop star, because he's a good looking man, let me tell you. And his story could be kind of like cut from this whole thing whenever it boils down to it, because it really doesn't actually matter in the end. He gets shot, and he falls off the cliff. We don't know if those messages or what pictures ever sent to his chief, and we don't know. I mean, I guess his whole kind of reason for being there was to give us some more context for the Squid Game facility, I guess, and to see some more behind the scenes, to see more of the guy that's running it, the Black Mask Man, and to see more of like the VIPs and stuff like that. And right when it started getting into like, oh, there's VIPs, I was like, okay, so this is like they're gonna bet on who's winning, and it's gonna be some kind of like huge conspiracy, under the table, black market style thing where these rich people just have nothing else to do but bet on people's lives. And I was like, oh, okay, but that kind of that's an element of these types of stories where, you know, it's life or death games. People like to bet on that because it's fucked up, and there's people that would probably do that, and so that gives it another dynamic to the story. So you can explore that, you can explore those types of characters. But I also wish that they kind of weren't there either, and it was just this one guy's vision to have people play this game because he's obsessed with games or something. Like his villain, his name is like the Game Master, you know, and he just wants to force people to play game. Not even force, but like force but not force, you know what I mean? And he just created this whole thing just because he's a wild crazy man, you know. And that probably, and we know the guy who runs it, but he's not like a wild crazy man. He's just bored, basically, is what he says, because it's the old man. The old man was behind it all. And that was an interesting twist. Didn't really need it. I didn't really care who was at the top of this, because that's really not the story. That's really not what it was about necessarily to me. But it was interesting that he was still alive, and that he was the leader of it all. He was at the top of it. Because I cried tears for that man when he died. It was pretty crazy, you know. He comes back and you're like, dude, I cried for you. You died. But now you're alive and you're behind this whole thing. Fuck you. And that's kind of like what our main character says to him. But yeah. So the K-pop cop, so it turns out the Black Mask Man is his brother. And I guess they don't really ever say that like outright. Like I thought when they were on the cliff and he reveals his face, he was gonna be like, brother, you know, but he says his name. And I was like, well, was that his name? I don't remember. It would be easier to remember these people's names if they were English names, but I watched it in Korean with the subtitles, because I just like that. I just like to experience things in their natural, in their original language. Like I would like to watch subbed anime most of the time. There are some good dubs out there, of course, but it just feels like they convey the emotion in the voice and everything whenever it's acted by the real people. Like the dubbing for the VIP people, who were probably not, like, those guys probably weren't American. Even though they looked American, they probably didn't speak English, so they dubbed their voices over. And you can tell it's some guy in a studio reading lines or something, and they're kind of bad. And they translate them. I'm sure that the Korean language translated to English is what they read. They're like, so this is the script. And then they're like, let's translate this to English for you to say. And then they said those things, and it just comes out awkward. And a lot of the dialogue is weird to me. And I kind of hated that part. And I can't really put my finger on it. And I can't really tell you any lines that they said. It just sounded weird to me. So, yeah, you can kind of. I wish there would have been something else come from the K-pop cop guy. Say that 50 times fast. K-pop cock, K-pop cop. There's a lot of puh there. Please don't bark. My dogs are barking in there. But yeah, they cut him out, or make it mean a little bit more. Like I wish we had seen the cops raid this place at the end. Or, you know, a SWAT team come in and they have like a gunfight shootout or something, you know, like give me something from that. But what we take away is that he found his brother. We were able to see more of the inside workings of the Squid game facility, which, you know, all these people that work there, they're not allowed to expose their faces. No one knows who each other is for anonymity. I can't say it. For and for fucking anonymity. I can't say the word. For whatever, you know, no one knows who they are. For you to be anonymous. And so we get to see a lot of that. And it's kind of interesting. I was like, where's this going to go? Where's this going? He finds all these paperwork of people that have been in the games before. And I guess it turns out his brother won the game once, like a couple years back. And then he just became the game runner like he was wearing the mask, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna run the game, get the contestants to go this way or that way, keep the rules in check. And his brother was like, why you do this to me? And he shoots him, and then that's kind of it. He's out of the story. So I don't know, did it serve a purpose? Yes and no. They didn't really go in a satisfying, it didn't end in a satisfying way to me, but still pretty good. So is there anything else I haven't talked about? See, this is why I need people to in the chat, so you can tell me what I need to talk about. What questions do you have? What do you want me to talk about, give my opinion about? Excuse me, because I think I've talked about everything that I want to talk about. I liked the Glass game; it was pretty fun. If you do the math for how much money they win, it's 44 billion won is like $5 million or something like that. Like, it's not like what you would think. Like, would I do this? I would do this for like $1 billion or something. Like, that's what it would take for me to risk my life like that. $1 billion, maybe more than. Maybe I wouldn't even do it, because I'm not super in debt. I don't like where my life is, and I don't want to fucking die. So I probably wouldn't even do it. But if I had if you tell me, like, if I could do all the games, no, I wouldn't do it. Would you do it? Are you crazy? Are you a psycho? Would you do it? Let me know in the comments below, or right now if you're on the Twitch stream. Why isn't Twitcher should be a thing? I don't know. I'm super like jittery from my pre-workout, so I'm just spazzing out. All right, I guess we'll move on from Squid Game. Good show. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, because it's not perfect, not perfect, I guess. It's pretty amazing. There's a lot of great stuff in it. The acting is like by far the best part of it, and it's cool to see some Korean actors do some stuff, because it's good for diversity. It's good that this show is so popular, because maybe it opens up more room for Netflix to produce more great, foreign film stuff. And I know they do produce a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of like Korean sitcoms or Korean dramedy type things. There's a lot of Korean shows on Netflix, and but they're just not as like they're not as talked about. Maybe they're not as good as this. I don't know, but you can find these people like this guy who wrote and directed this, and he wrote it 10 years ago. So he's a talented guy. And kudos to Netflix for giving them the money and the budget to pull this off, because it couldn't be cheap. It looks very good. If the budget was less than like $20 million, I would be shocked, because these are like good actors from Korea. Like, I looked up some of their IMDb pages, and they have some big credits for movies. So they're probably not they don't work for super cheap. For the level of acting that you got out of them, they had to have been pretty good actors, like pretty, well known in Korea. So, all right, that's Squid Game. So let's talk about what we do in the shadows. It's October, everybody. Halloween's coming up. Are you excited for Halloween? I sure am. Oh boy, OG boy. And what we do in the shadows is a fun, silly, goofy little movie. It's a mockumentary about some vampires that all live in a flat, and there is a new vampire that gets bitten, and they kind of show him the ropes, and we see some of the misadventures and wacky things that vampires do in the modern times. There's an old vampire, a not as old vampire, a not as old vampire, and then like a new vampire. There's like all different ages of vampires, and it's a really fun, silly movie, and it's short. It's 90 minutes, so you can knock it out fairly easy. It's a nice, quick movie, and it flies by because it's funny, and it just kind of keeps moving. There's gag after gag after gag, and if you like vampire stuff and you like Halloween stuff, and it's a perfect kind of like goofy movie to watch around Halloween time. Taika Waititi. I don't know if he directed this. I think he did, but he stars in it. possibly directed it. I haven't done my homework enough to. I should have, but so you like Thor Ragnarok? Yeah, he's director of Thor Ragnarok, and he's in Thor Ragnarok too. He plays the rock guy, Krog. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Krog, something like that. But he's a cool, funny guy, and he's great in it. Jermaine from like the Flight of the Conchords guys, he's in there. So they have all these accents, and it's just fun, silly, goofy times. So that's that, I suppose. I do recommend it. I think you should watch it. Give it a try, at least. So if you like silly, funny movies, it's not even rated. It's kind of bloody. There's like blood in it, but I don't think there's many curse words. So it's kind of silly. There's a lot of goofy gags. There's some sexual humor. Yeah, I think it is rated R. I think we watched the TV version of it because I have it was like it's FXM or something like on Hulu. So if you have Hulu Plus TV, you can watch it. You just gotta have to I had to record it, I think. But there's all these weird things now with Hulu and stuff. I don't know how that really works. Like when you watch movies that come on TV, but they're not like movies that are available just on Hulu. It's this whole weird area that I don't know what really happens when you record that or you watch it back, or it's very strange. But if you have Hulu Plus TV, you can probably watch it. And there's a I think there's an FX show that it's like on its third season or something of What We Do in the Shadows, which is interesting. But the movie it's very short, super concise. It's just a fun little time. So yeah, I recommend that. So now I guess I'll get into some spoilers a little bit because I got some more time. I'll talk about some of my fun favorite moments from there. There's so if you're gonna watch it without any spoilers or me talking about the movie, then just kind of come back and hear me talk about my favorite funny parts of the movie. So there's this guy Stu, and he's just a regular human throughout the whole show until a certain point, whenever there's a werewolf attack, and you think, oh no, Stu dies, and excuse me, but Stu's not dead. He's alive, and he's a werewolf now. And it's just so funny how everyone loves Stu, and I love Stu. He's great. His name's fucking Stu. What are you, stupid? You gotta like Stu. That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke. But yeah, it's fun. And there's a part where our Taika Waititi he likes this girl. She's very old, and it's kind of this silly joke where he came to this country to be with her, but she was married, and then she's a widow now, and he gets with her at the very end, bites her, so now she's a vampire, but she's like 90-year-old grandma. And he says, why could I be with someone so young when I am like 400 years old and she's 90? People say I'm cradle robbing, but I don't care. It's funny because she's an old grandma. Haha. See, that's the kind of jokes. If you like silly jokes like that, there's this one time, there's this funny joke. Vlad, yeah, he goes by Vlad. He likes to poke people. So like Vlad the Impaler, was the Dracula kind of character. What he's based on, Vlad the Impaler, but this is Vlad the Poker. I'm the poker. And there's a funny bit where it's like on Facebook. You could go on Facebook, you could send her a message, or you could poke her, and he's like, poker? Yes, I would like to poke her. He doesn't say that, but you get the joke. It's funny. A lot of silly stuff like that. They'll watch the sunrise on the computers, like, hey, we can watch this. Like they just have nothing. No, they know nothing about technology, and there's a lot of funny technology gags that they do. There's the Beast, which of course is just it's his ex-girlfriend. And when I first watched it the first time, I was like, oh man, he had lost a fight with the Beast. He lost his powers. What kind of beast are we talking about? And of course, it's his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. Yeah, that would be your Beast. It's a funny moment where Taika Waititi he puts a picture of this girl in his coffin, and he closes the coffin, and he's just up, and you hear and you see the coffin moving up and down. It's like jerk off joke. Hell yeah, boy. what else is funny in there? All the werewolf stuff's pretty funny, just because they're like, there's the alpha male wolf who's like telling him like, change yourself to the tree. That's a tiny tree. You're gonna snap that like a twig. What are you doing? Yeah, goofball, get on a bigger tree. You know how big you get when you transform. They have some funny stuff. Like they talk about their smell. I can smell you from here. This is good. This is funny stuff, man. What can I say? It's a little it's not as much there's not as much to it to talk about as there is Squid Game. So that's why I kind of condensed them together, I guess. Or I kind of did these together because there's one that's have a lot to say about, and this one is just kind of like a recommendation. But also it's just kind of, I wanted to talk about it. I want more people to see What We Do in the Shadows if you haven't. Because I don't know, it's still kind of a smaller film. And it's Halloween time, so check it out, y'all. I think that's all I got for this one. Not an hour, but 45 minutes. That's good. I can put this up on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. And I think we're going to, next week, like I said, I'm trying to do these on Mondays. I'm going to try to see Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And I'm going to rewatch the first Venom, because I haven't seen it since the theater, I don't think. Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters. I have it on 4K Blu-ray, though. And which I can't even watch. I have to watch it on normal Blu-ray because I don't have a PS5 yet. And my Xbox that plays 4K Blu-rays, I don't know if it's exactly plugged in for my TV to work in here. But I'm gonna rewatch Venom, and then I'll try to watch Let There Be Carnage, and then that's what next week will be about. So if you see this and you want to join and chat with me, let me know. Be sure if you want to chat with me here, like in person, and be part of the video, heck yeah, come on, let me know. But if you want to just follow along and chat with me here, ask me questions, like tell me your favorite moments from Venom and Let There Be Carnage, then follow me on the Twitcher, just Twitch. I don't know why I keep saying Twitcher, but I think because Twitter, I'm getting a little confused in my head. My brain's scrambled and it's mush because been talking to myself, talking about myself, talking with myself in my head, and I'm just a little like, ooh, a little afraid. I think you can only hear the sound of your own voice for so long before you're like, why am I still talking? And that's the point I'm at right now. Why am I still talking? But yeah, thanks everybody. Fuck, I hit my hand. Thanks everybody for checking this out. Please subscribe, please follow on Twitter. And Twitter and Twitch, though, especially Twitch, if you want to be part of this, and leave a comment. That's all it. That's all, folks. Bye. Thank you. All right, I gotta move my fan out of the way so I can hit the end button. My thing is so far away. My mouse is so far away.